Are you repurposing your on-air content? Today, we'll talk to one group here in Mississippi who is taking a lot of the things that they put on the radio and then repurposing them into podcasts, YouTube videos, and a lot more.
You're listening to Better Radio Websites, the definitive podcast for radio professionals who want their websites to generate more traffic and substantial revenue. Get time-tested techniques, secret tricks, and valuable tools in online content, marketing, analytics, security, social media, and much more. Ready for your radio station to dominate digital in your market? Here we go.
Hi, it's Jim, and welcome to Better Radio Websites, the podcast that wants to help you get more visitors and the most revenue from your radio station website. Thank you so much for tuning in this weekend. If you haven't yet, be sure that you like and subscribe if you're checking this out on YouTube. And if you're listening to this podcast, be sure that you are, that you're subscribed, but leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing and maybe some things that you'd like to see in a future episode. All of those things that you can do actually go to help this content be reached by more radio professionals. Well, this week we're talking to Breck Riley. Breck is the news director, morning show host, a sports guy. He does everything up at Boswell Media in Kosciuszko, Mississippi. Now, we had their general manager and co-owner, Melissa Boswell Townsend, on a couple of weeks ago and wanted to have Breck in to kind of narrow down into some of the things that they're doing to repurpose their on-air content. They're doing podcasts. They're doing YouTube videos. They're doing all kinds of other things outside of the normal 9 to 2 or 10 to 5 to 9, whenever their show is, and very, very inspirational. Breck Riley, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Hey, yeah, man, glad to be here. It's always good to talk to what I call Jim Fox, but Jim Sherwood.
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day.
Back in the last time we talked about sports and
right.
Implementing different sports and stuff like that on your radio station website there at for the folks that didn't catch that one, tell the folks about your history, what you do at Boswell Media, and just everything. Give us wherever you want to start.
Yeah, well, I worked here as an intern when I was in college at Mississippi State. I came back and I was the board operator, right? So started from the bottom. So board operator, pressing the buttons on Friday nights for football games, and then afterwards did a scoreboard show. Back when that was a big thing. Didn't have Twitter, had to do the scoreboard show. So I did that, and then got finished with college. Came back home in 2013. Started doing football, color commentary, live remotes. Maybe they send me out to cover a softball game. Something not the top level, but just kind of seeing what I could do. And then in 2014. In December, I took over as the morning show host. So this coming up in about 3 months, it'll be my 10-year anniversary of hosting the morning show here on Breezy 101. And then after that, took over as play-by-play in 2015, and also in 2015 took over as news director for breezynews.com, kicks96news.com. And so been doing that for almost 10 years as well. And so at the station, I do morning show. I do the news occasionally, do a newscast. We do a newscast on all three of our stations, sort of a network broadcast. And then I do junior college football games on Thursday nights and high school games on Friday nights, football play-by-play, and then whatever other play-by-play that we do for out the year. And then I'm also doing stories at breezynews.com. Like most people think, it's like, oh, you're at the radio station. You just go home after your show's done. And that is not the case. It's more so... I would say I do more online content than I do on-air content, mostly, because, once my show's done at 9, then I was doing stories all day long, whether it's coaches' shows, putting those online, or interviewing the mayor. The mayor was on my show on Wednesday and put that online, or going to alderman meetings or going to supervisors' meetings and putting that kind of local content online. So that's kind of what I do. But this time of year during football, it's mostly football for me because, I have coaches that come in on Tuesday, Wednesday, then I have games on Thursday and Friday. And last night's game was 2.5 hours away. So, yeah. So we were on the road for a while. So that's kind of a little bit of a, I guess not necessarily brief overview, but an overview of what I did.
Very cool. Now, I think that is very, very cool that you do not just come in for the morning show. And I think that's a great point that you said. You don't just come in for the morning show and then you're gone for the rest of the day. You have a full day of online after your show.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that's the norm across radio stations across the country. Do you?
No, I don't think so. Because I mean, from my other radio friends that I know that do that, a lot of them, it's not like just listening to music. Like a lot of people say, like, oh, I wish I could listen to music all day. Yeah, me too. But yeah, there's a little bit more work that is involved. But yeah, I know a lot of other folks that, they might do their show, hang around for an hour or two, and do production, commercials, or do something, prep for the next day, record spots and segments for the next day. But yeah, as far as making the shift from 5:30 to 9 on air, and then for the rest of the day doing online content, I don't think that's necessarily the norm. You probably know more than I do. You talk to a lot of people.
Yeah, and kudos to the owner and general manager Melissa Boswell Townsend. We had her on the podcast a few weeks ago. Yeah, very, very cool what you guys are doing there. And when you have an air staff that jumps in and has this kind of mentality, you don't have to have a large staff to produce a lot of content. Because I mean, if you look on Breezy News or Kicks96news.com, there's a lot of content. How much content you guys produce every day?
I think the minimum we try to go is at least 5 stories a day, but that's very rare that it's only 5 stories a day.
That it's only 5.
Yeah. It's very rare that we only get the minimum. So, I mean, we do have, I don't know, not a lot of people in the building. I mean, today I think there's 4 of us in the building. Somebody's on vacation. But everybody has a login on the website. So if I'm gone and I'm like, hey, can you, there's a big story downtown. I got a picture of a car fire. I can text it back to somebody here and they can post it online. So it's sort of a group effort. Now, we obviously all have our areas of like expertise, right? Mm-hmm. I'll focus on this or somebody will focus on that, but we can all put it online. And we have done that before. Melissa will be out on a sales call and like, oh, here's a traffic light out. Take a picture, send it back to me, put it online. One of our part-time guys, he goes to town every now and then, and when there's a traffic jam or there's a light pole down, he'll send it to us and we'll post it online. So yeah, sort of a group effort that Johnny likes to say, take one person and spread their talents out. You know what I mean? Spread them out so you can do a lot. Everybody can do a lot of different things.
Yeah, and I think that the more online stories than things that you do outside of your show, I think that only extends you, Breck Riley, as a brand. It makes your brand deeper in the community. Don't you agree?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And like you said, kind of extends what you can do. Because like when I first started, I was like everybody else. Well, I'm just going to be on the radio, right? And maybe I'll do a Breezy News story on the football coach, right? I'll tell you, I've done all kinds of different things. I had pageants. What do I know about pageants, right? We've had plenty of pageant gals come in to be on the radio, and we do stories about them competing in Miss Mississippi. Like, what do I know about? Like I said, what do I know about pageants? But I've learned a lot about pageants. And then another thing is big is like city government, right? Because I'm not the most political guy in the world, right? And so growing up, I didn't care about city government, county government. Now I'm the person that people call and ask, what's going on with this? What's going on with this? Why are they passing this law and all this kind of stuff? So, yeah, I agree. Definitely rounds you out as a person as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned interviews with the coach. One of the things that we wanted to get together and talk about was actually turning your interviews and things that you do outside of your show, kind of extending that out and putting it on other things like in podcast and YouTube and that sort of thing. You guys have started doing that.
Yeah, we started. We've always done that morning newscast, on all 3 stations or whatever, and then we started putting that online as a podcast with Spotify, or I think we used to be Anchor, now Spotify, and so essentially, how it is. Not everybody, because that newscast airs top of the hour, 6, 7, and 8, right? Not everybody's awake at 6, 7, and 8, and so they might want to go back and hear what was in the news And so it's online. I mean, right when you log onto our website, it's like weather podcast. I mean, they're right there next to each other. So you think that's what most people are going to look for, the weather, and then the podcast is right there. So we started with the news podcast, and it's been going for a while, like 3-4 years now. We've been doing that, and it's been got some good traction. And that's either we have 3 guys that can do the news. I mean, it's just kind of one of those. We all kind of coordinate who's going to do it. You know, if I'm out, somebody else will do it. If they're out, we'll do it. So we three different people that can do that newscast. But recently, this year, wanted to put our sports content on a podcast, because what we normally do, and we talked about this the first time that we had a podcast together, was that we do the shows, we record them, they air on the radio, and then we put it online, because once again, coaches' shows air at 7:30 in the morning. Not everybody's awake at 7:30 in the morning, or they might be already at work at 7:30 in the morning, so they can't necessarily tune into the radio. So we would post it online. But now I was like, well, we can get another, I guess, audience, the podcast audience that, people, they're always on Spotify looking for something. And so I was like, why don't we just put it on Spotify and see how it goes, right? And so what we do now is that we have 3 teams that we broadcast. We have 1 junior college and 2 high schools for football games. And we have a coach's show for all 3, and we have our broadcast for all 3. So I'll put all of our coaches' shows on the Spotify so people can go listen there. And then what I've been doing is also taking the audio, the game audio, and putting it online. So you can go back and listen to, I just got done putting the last night's game on the podcast just right before we went on. We started talking this morning. So, and the folks at the community college that we broadcast, they were excited about that, because, a little bit younger folks might know, like, let me go to Spotify, let me go to this podcast and listen for my game, because a lot of the football players and a lot of the parents, they're at the games, right? So they want to go back and hear when they got that big highlight hit. They want to go back and hear it and clip it and, put it together and things like that. So that's kind of what I was going for with the podcast, just kind of connecting with a different audience, because our Breezy News and our online audience, that's locked in. I mean, we have people that have Breezy News as their home page. So when they get up in the morning, they're looking at Breezy News, and so they're pretty much locked in there. But, we could extend ourselves. We talk about extending, yourself. We can extend our content a little bit more to get it over to the podcast. And honestly, it's a lot easier too. I mean, you just grab it, boom, upload it, embed it, boom, put it in a website. I mean, it's so easy now to do that.
Are you guys doing are you putting these games on YouTube as well?
We do the high school games on YouTube. So we broadcast the games on YouTube live video stream. They also go out over the radio. So it's a two-way street. So it's not just YouTube only, because obviously we are a radio station first. So the radio and the video stream. Once again, another way for people to find the ball games, because you have your older crowd that knows, just turn on the radio on Friday night and hear the football game. They're not going to think, well, let me get my phone out, let me go to YouTube, let me do that, right? So it kind of helps everybody. Like I said, the older crowd that likes to listen, and the younger crowd that wants to put it up on YouTube and watch it on their TV at home or on their back porch or whatever they're doing. So yeah, we do the high school games on YouTube. The junior college they handle their own video stream, so they have their own streaming. So they just take our audio and plug it into their stream, but they do it on whatever their platform is.
Is there any kind of monetization of you got clients attached to either the podcast or the YouTube? How does that work?
The podcast, the news podcast, is it's branded. So I mean, it's labeled there. The whole thing is called the sponsor's name, News and Weather Update, right? So I mean, that's whole. And then we also have a what do we have? Well, we just got a severe weather sponsor that we put in the middle. So you've probably heard newscasts where it's like first few stories, more news after this. 15-second ad, and then it goes to the rest of the news. So yeah, that is, as far as the Spotify for the sports, don't have anything yet because it's new. We're just kind of putting it on online and trying to see how it rolls out and different things like that. Now we do sponsor, obviously during football games. I mean, I got so many ads to play during football games that I have a hard time getting them in sometimes. But yeah, and we do have a graphic that we put up with all of our sponsors on the YouTube channel. So when they look on the YouTube channel and they see it, the little standard image has everybody's name on it, and we post that in the story when we post it at breezynews.com. So right below it, it'll have the main presenting streaming sponsor in big letters, and then everybody else in small letters. But
you guys are now expanding into this. Do you see anything else that you're doing, either in sports or out of sports, that you could probably turn into a podcast? Something else?
We have our morning show content that we could start posting on there, because for now I do have the mayor come on with me every couple. Actually, whenever there's a city board meeting, it comes on the morning after. So I would say every 2 weeks, but sometimes it doesn't necessarily fall like that. But whenever there's a city board meeting, he does come on, and it's called Minute with the Mayor, and that gets a lot of traffic on the website, because we just post it there. Because trust me, if I don't get it up, like 10 minutes after my show's done, somebody's calling and wanting to know where A Minute with the Mayor is.
Wow.
So that's another thing that we've discussed, right, is, because my show's called The Breakfast Show. And so if we had like The Breakfast Show Spotify, and we could just put all of our interviews there. And same thing for our other guys, BMO in the morning on our Kicks on our country station. And so we've discussed, possibly getting where we do that as well. But as for now, we just put it all on Breezy News, because like I said, we have that built-in audience there where they know to go to Breezy News. We had a big thing about Minute with the Mayor. They raised the prices on the food truck fees here in town, and that was a whole big thing. And I go to the alderman meeting, and there's people in the meeting just quoting what we said on Minute with the Mayor. So I'm like, so there's a market there for that. And the good thing about Spotify is if they subscribe to it, they'll get a notification, right, when it goes on. Now, for Breezy News or whatever, they have to, obviously go to the website and see that it's online. But for Spotify, if they subscribe, boom, comes to your phone. Oh, look, the high school quarterback was on with Breck this morning. Let's see what he was talking about. So yeah, that's another thing we've talked about doing. You're just kind of trying to see how the sports Spotify works, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, that's cool. And you guys are doing other content. I looked on your YouTube channel earlier today, and I saw that you guys did a video for Waters Truck and Trailer. Are you familiar with that?
I lost you there for a minute.
It looked like it wasn't a commercial. It was this business there in town is now servicing electric school buses. If you're not familiar with it, that's fine.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I just thought that was very, very cool that you guys did that.
Yeah. They were, the truck and tractor place is doing, like you said, electric school buses. So we just go there, and for a while there, videos were all the rage, where your news story had a video and pictures and the little captions under the bottom, right? And it's almost a slideshow with captions. So we can do things like that, because we do have our YouTube channel, and I mean, this little thing right here can do just about everything. And I tell people all the time, I said 99% of the videos you see on our website came from that or an iPad.
That's right.
So I mean, that's super easy to do. But yeah, we do. Sometimes we do get asked to do commercials too, like some video commercials for, for businesses if they want one for a TV spot or something like that. We don't run in our YouTube broadcast. We don't run any video commercials. It's just audio commercials. So when it goes to a commercial, you can still see the field. You're just hearing the commercial audio, because getting video commercials in, I don't know if I would have enough time. I'd have to start football practice or football prep in February if I wanted to get all that in time. But yeah, we do that. And one thing that I have been doing for the past few years is highlight videos from our games. So rather than somebody having to go back and watch the entire game, I can go, and if it's a YouTube broadcast, I just go to where the YouTube is, and I clip the videos and the big plays like touchdowns, and if there's a big interception, and I post them on maybe a 1.5-minute, 2-minute video online. And same thing for the community college. My phone's blowing up over here because he's texting me all of the videos from last night, from the Thursday night game. He's one of the guys is on the field getting all the videos, so he'll send it to me, and then I take our commentary, link it up with the video, and then we post that online. And he'll share that out on the school's webpage and their social media accounts, just as like I said, a way, a lot of the kids, they want to see big hit, they want to see touchdown, they want to know what the commentary said about them, and so that's another way we put some content on YouTube. And another thing I've been doing is doing a graphic each week. This year I started doing a specific game graphic for each ball game. So rather than having just the generic Kosciuszko football or whatever it is, I get a picture and then put our logo, the school's logo, and all that. And then one of the students, one of the football players, maybe catching a pass or something, man, doing this thing or whatever they do. And that's been good. A lot of people have liked that, because I post that in when the game's going on. We post it on the website. So from 6 to 9 or whatever, if you log in to our website, it'll say listen live, Holmes Community College football, and it's got that graphic right there. So that's right below the weather. So if somebody logs in, oh, I didn't know that they were playing tonight, let me click on that and listen to that. And so that button just links to our audio stream, and they can listen to it right there. So just another attention grabber, I say, because pictures, what are the stats are on sharing to social media, how many hits a post gets, if it has a picture versus if it doesn't have a picture.
Right.
It's an attention getter. So right when they log in, you see that picture right there, and they click the button, and they're good to go.
Yeah. And back when I was on air, I would be thinking everything that you're saying and be like, oh, wow, that's a whole lot more work. But really, it's now that you have one of these, it's really not a whole lot of work, is it?
No, it's simple. Like I said, this morning I've already converted. I didn't get here till like 9, because I didn't get in until like 1 o'clock last night. And so then as soon as I got here, we have to convert the file, because it's a 4-hour file for the ball game. So I have to convert it from MP4 or M4A, whatever it is, to an MP3. It takes 5 minutes, and then upload it to the podcast. So did that, and it doesn't take that long anymore. And I did three or four stories. I think I did 3 stories on the website between 9 and the time we went on, because it was, well, I should say stories. They're just pictures people send us, right? It was like the school counselor met with these kids, and they're discussing what career they want to go to. So the Votech sends us that, so I post that kind of stuff and different things. We had a guest, former Mississippi State quarterback, joined us last night before we went to our ball game. And so he stopped by and he ate with us. He's part of the Mississippi State radio crew. And so we took a picture, and I was like, that's fun content, right? So I threw it online. It's like, hey, Mississippi State quarterback hanging out with the football crew before our ball game. So I just threw that online this morning too. So yeah, it does. Technology now makes everything easy. Well, easier.
Oh, yeah.
Easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything that you're saying, I was all about the content back when I was on air. It was just, content. I never even thought about the sales aspect of it. But everything that I'm hearing you talk about, everything that you're doing online, everything you're doing on YouTube, everything you're doing in the podcast, I'm like, okay, I can see how a salesperson would say, I can sell that, I can sell that, I can sell that. And it'd just be easy to do if you have the audience there.
Yeah, and another thing that I've told the sales team about is that in football, you've watched football and you see the little ticker that goes across the bottom with, scores or whatever like that. Well, obviously, we can't necessarily get live scores during high school football, but we do have a thing that scrolls across the bottom that says, you're listening to this, our online streaming sponsor is this, last time these teams played, this was the score, the player of the game last week, and I was like, I've told the sales team, I was like, you probably could sell that for like a senior message of the week. So-and-so wants to give a shout out to number 7, right? Play hard, whatever, you sell that,
right.
Just sort of a message there that scrolls across the bottom, that's another selling opportunity right there. So yeah, they sell just about anything these days.
It's endless.
Yeah.
Breck, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and talking about this. It's awesome. I'm just constantly amazed at everything that you guys are doing there at Boswell Media, just because it's such a small staff in a small town, but you guys just kill it like crazy.
Yeah. So, I think I said 4 or 5 people in the building on any given day, and then they got the 3 websites, 2 websites, 3 radio stations, digital billboard. We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. So much with so little. I think that's just amazing. You guys are a testament to the smaller broadcaster, just kicking it out of the park. But thank you so much again for being on the podcast. Hey, if anybody wants to reach out to you, how can they get in touch with you if they have any questions about anything that you've mentioned today?
You can look at Breck Riley. As far as I know, I'm the only one in the world. So everything, all of my social media is at Breck Riley. I don't have to add a number. I don't have to add an underscore. I don't have to do anything. At Breck Riley on YouTube, Twitter. I'm mostly on Twitter. That's kind of, or X, I guess it is now. That's kind of what I do more than anything. But also, breezynews.com. All of our links are there if you need an email or something like that. So, but yeah, I think if you just search Breck Riley, there's a Riley Breck somewhere. But I think I'm the only Breck Riley. So every time there's a new social media page, I always go and, even if I'm not going to use it, I lock down the at Breck Riley really quickly so no one else can use it. So yeah, just at Breck Riley and holler at me. We'll chat.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jim.
So I hope that's an inspiration for you, that not only do you come in and do your on-air show or your shift or whatever and then take off for the day. There's so much that you and your team could be doing for your radio station website in order to boost more visitors to it and to increase your revenue. Listening to Breck there were so many things that really stood out to me as like, man, this would be easy for a sales team to sell. So I hope it did to you as well. So if you have an interview on the radio, or if you have any kind of a weekly or daily thing that you can do, repurpose that. Put it on to a podcast or a YouTube video or something else. Share it out to social media. Have a TikTok channel. Anything like that you can do to further extend your brand if you're a personality, it will extend your brand as a personality, and it will extend your brand as a radio station as well. Because, like Breck said, not a lot of people get up real early in the morning and are able to catch that live, and we're not going to make them get up any earlier. So we want to give them opportunities so they can consume that content when they want to consume that content. And like I said, that's going to extend your brand even outside of the normal times of listening. I hope that was an inspiration to you. Reach out to Breck if you have any questions on that. And so be sure to like and subscribe to this podcast. And hopefully this has been a good inspiration to you. Have an awesome week online, making your radio station website better. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Better Radio Websites. Remember to subscribe, leave a rating or comment, and share this episode with your team and radio colleagues. For show notes, archived episodes, and more free resources, visit betterradiowebsites.com. Need help starting or making your radio website better? Visit skyrocketradio.com.